Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Could you remove your poster, Eta? Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wally Rauda. I'm your host for today's BizTalk. Welcome to BizTalk. Is everybody ready? Can everybody hear me? Can you wave your hands if you can hear me? Wave your hands. Very good. Let me remind you of what your colleague told you. My colleague told you earlier. If for any reason you switch off your video camera during this BizTalk, you stand not to get a certificate of attendance. In order to get a certificate of attendance, your video camera must be on. You must be sitting in front of your video camera, TT sway. If I cannot see you and your face is not in camera, you may not be eligible for a certificate. In order to get a certificate, your camera must be on and you must be looking at the camera for the whole session. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's BizTalk. Today, we're talking about an exciting subject. Today, we're talking about how to maximize profitability in a business. Can everybody hear me? Wave your hands if you can hear me, please, everyone. Very good. Excellent. Can you hear me, Mon? Can you wave your hand, AA? Mon, can you wave your hand? I need to see you. Okay, very good. All right. So what is profitability? Who can tell me? What does profitability mean? Who would like to try? Put your hand up if you think you know. What does it mean to make a profit? Who wants to try? Janice, can you try? Tell me, Janice, what does profit mean, Janice? Are you there, Janice? Open your microphone. Tell me, what is profit? Hi, Janice, are you there? Can you unmute your microphone, Janice, and tell me what is profit? Janice, you need to answer when I ask you a question. Okay, Christine. Hi, Christine Isada. Would you like to unmute your microphone? Go ahead, Christine. Hi, Christine.
Hi, sir. Hi, everyone.
What is profit, Christine?
Profit, for me, profit is the financial gain or the revenue.
Okay. All right. So profit is what you keep after providing a good or a service and paying your expenses. Would you agree with that, Christine?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, Christine. I'll talk to you again. All right. So anybody else want to add to what Christine said? How about we talk to Gigi? Gigi, what do you think profit is? Go ahead, Gigi.
Yeah, it's hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, of course. Go ahead.
So it's basically it's a financial gain left after the subtracting all the expenses from the company. So it's called revenue.
Very good, Gigi. You're very good. You're close. Very good. It's a bit more than that, but that is a very good definition. Thank you. Okay, let's go on. Let's go to Cordelia. Hi, Cordelia. What do you want to say about profit? Go ahead, Cordelia. Open your microphone, please.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Cordelia. What's
Hi.
your definition of profit?
Profit, is it?
Yeah. What does profit mean to you?
Profit. Sorry, I'm not really sure.
Okay, no problem. You'll learn.
Okay.
Okay, listen. Okay, I hope
Yeah.
you learn by the end of the session. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard from a few people regarding profit. I'll talk to you all shortly. But let's start today's PowerPoint presentation and let's learn why is profitability so important in business today. Okay, profitability is how a business makes money. Profitability is what a business uses in order to make money. Just one moment, please. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go. All right, very good. Okay, so let me just make the screen bigger for all of you. One moment, please. Here we go. All right, so profitability, ladies and gentlemen, is not only financial gain, but profitability has a lot of meanings. And maximizing a business's profit is critical to the business survival. If a business does not make a profit, Cordelia, you must keep your camera on. If you switch off your camera again, you will not get a certificate. So, okay, so a profit is critical. If a business does not make a profit during its life, if the business makes losses or breaks even, the business faces a predicament of going bankrupt. Again, it is imperative that every business is targeted for profitability. So what is profitability? Let's look at profitability and define it. Profit, ladies and gentlemen, is the difference between the business's expenses, okay, the difference between the money they receive, the revenue, okay, based on what they sell or the services they provide, okay, it's the money they receive after deducting its total cost. So it's what's left over, the surplus. For example, if you have a smartphone, you sell the smartphone for $200. Your cost from the supplier is $150. And your cost for rental, shop, and electricity are $10. So $150 plus $110 take your total cost to $160. That means, technically speaking, your profit would be $40, hypothetically. Profitability refers basically to the business's ability to generate revenue, which it can call surplus after paying all the expenses relating to that transaction. So let's talk about this in more detail. Explicit costs and implicit costs. As you can see here, when you calculate profitability, profitability includes costs, which we know as explicit costs, which are costs that we actually pay, and also implicit costs. Let me explain what these mean. Explicit costs are direct payments that you make in the course of running your business. Example, wages, rent, materials from your supplier, buying stock from Samsung if you sell mobile phone. They are also known as out-of-pocket costs or accounting costs. Does everybody understand that? Wave your hands for me, please. Come on, everyone. Wave your hands. Very good. Explicit costs are costs resulting in an immediate outflow of cash from the business, as termed explicit costs. These costs are incurred during the production process of regular course of action or the business's income. For example, you sell mobile phones, you have to buy mobile phones, pay the supplier in order for you to sell them. That's an explicit cost. It can also cover electricity, bills, salary, wages, overhead, miscellaneous expenses in order to run the shop in which you sell your mobile phones. So if we make this easier, explicit costs are easy to recognize and keep track of because they are recorded when they arise and are calculated in terms of cash. Keeping a record of explicit costs is very important, and it helps you as a business be able to reach a decision of whether to increase your prices or lower your overhead costs. Explicit costs. Let's now talk about implicit costs. They are the opposite to explicit costs. Both costs are important. You must control both. Implicit costs are a type of opportunity costs, which is the cost of giving up the next best use of resource. For example, if you are the entrepreneur, for example, if Aita owns the business, but Aita, instead of running the business, actually goes out and works as a salesman for that business, that would be opportunity cost. The income they could have earned from other job as an implicit cost. So that means Aita gave up his job running the business and generating revenue, and he had to go out and work as a salesman because his sales team was incompetent. So any money that Aita would have lost managing the business would become an implicit cost on that item when he sells it. Implicit cost is known as economic cost and does not require an outflow of cash. So an implicit cost is only a written down book number to demonstrate cost, but no cash changes hands. This cost arises when the asset is utilized as a factor instead of renting it out. Give you an example. Aita is a salesman for your company. However, Aita cannot sell because they needed him to do help with production. They were short of people on the production line. So any money that Aita was not able to generate from sales because he was busy working on the production line would be a book written down implicit cost. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands, please. Very good. These costs, the implicit costs, do have an effect on your business, especially on profitability. Examples of implicit costs are the salary of the proprietor and interest in the owner's capital. The proprietor, the owner of the business, if he has to go onto the production floor and work in the factory instead of running the business, any money he would have lost running the business would become an implicit cost towards producing the product, and technically speaking, would increase the cost of that product that you're selling to your consumer. Let's talk about this in detail, okay? So let me go on and show you some examples. Here we have the particulars, meaning an explicit cost occurs when the company pays for the usage of its factors of production or pays for stock. An implicit cost occurs when the company uses resources belonging to the owner, such as capital or inventory, which would prevent it from otherwise earning money from that resource or capital. Alternatively known, explicit cost is also referred to as out-of-pocket cost. Implicit cost is referred to as inputted or outputted cost, which is only a number in your accounts records. Determining costs. Explicit costs can be determined easily because it's an amount you pay out. Implicit cost does not have a track and cannot be determined precisely. It's only estimated on how much you lost as a result of using that person or that asset rather than having it concentrate on the business. Calculation of profit. It's very easy. Explicit costs assist in calculating both the accounting profit as well as the economic definition of profit for a business, and we'll learn those shortly. Implicit costs helps in calculating only the economic profit, but not the accounting profit, and I'll show you how that happens shortly. Cash. Explicit costs requires an outflow. You're paying out cash, whether by bank transfer, writing a check, you're paying expenses. Implicit costs does not require outflow because it's only a number in the books. So to summarize, explicit costs can be electricity bills, can be advertising in the newspaper, they can be employee wages. Implicit costs can be labor of the owner who works for the company but does not draw a salary, because if he drew a salary, this would be the cost. The capital invested in the business is an implicit cost because without that capital, the business couldn't run. The use of the owner's car or his personal laptop or equipment that belongs to him in order to help the business run also has an implicit cost. So now that we all understand implicit versus explicit, does everybody understand what I mean by implicit versus explicit? Can everybody wave their hands to me, please? Okay, very good. So implicit, explicit. Explicit is straightforward because you know how much you paid. It's recorded. Implicit is only an estimated value. No money changes hands. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Put your hands up. Come on, hurry up. Toy, Ra, do you understand that? Can you wave your hand, Toy? You need to wave your hand. You need to participate. Thank you. All right, let's go back to the lesson. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go back to this and let's look at it again. So what is the difference between economic versus accounting? Economic profit is an economic theory that we study in economics on how to calculate profit. Accounting profit is what we use when we calculate the profit of a business. So economic profits equal total revenue minus total opportunity costs. That is economic profitability based on the study of economics. However, let's look at the definition. The total revenue of a firm less all economic costs, also called pure profit and above normal profit. Economic profit equals traditional revenue or total revenue minus explicit and implicit costs. So to calculate economic profit, technically speaking, you would subtract total revenue from your total explicit and implicit costs. What do we mean by opportunity? Opportunity is what you actually have the potential of spending in order to make money. Opportunity costs. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands. Very good. So let's go on. Accounting profits means total revenue minus explicit costs. When we talk about economic forecast for the business, we talk about economic profit, which is a written down number on the books, which includes both explicit and implicit estimates. However, for accounting purposes, when you calculate real cash in and out, in order to determine how much money is left in the bank and how much you have as profit, you would use total revenue minus explicit costs only. This is accounting profitability. All right, so let's look at this, guys. Let's look at the diagram. Okay, so let's talk about this. Economic profit versus accounting profit. Economic profit is implicit costs, including a normal profit and explicit costs. All of these are deducted from total revenue. In accounting profit, it's accounting costs, which are explicit costs only, deducted from revenue. Whatever the difference is, the surplus, that would become profit. Does everybody understand that so far? Yes or no? Does everybody understand what I just said? Wave your hands, please. Very good. Excellent. Okay, so we both understand it. Let's go on. Okay, let me just bear with me for a moment. Let me share again. Okay, so we both understand now what economic profit is and what accounting profit is. We all understand that accounting profit is the basis for calculating business profitability week to week or month to month. All right? It is critical that you understand that. All right, so let's now talk about types of profitability. We know about economic profit. We know about accounting profit calculations. Now, what different measurements do we have to understand when calculating profit? Number one, gross profitability. This means the total revenue that comes in minus the cost of the goods you sold. What is the cost of the goods you're selling? If you're selling a mouse, how much did it cost you? That would give you gross profit. Number two, operating profitability. Operating profitability is the gross profit that you calculated, which is revenue minus your cost of goods sold. Okay, you take your gross profit and then minus away all your operating expenses, wages, rent, electricity, advertising. That would give you operating profitability. Net profitability would be the operating profit, which you calculated in number two, minus any taxes that you pay your government on the money you earn as a business, and any interest that you have to pay to the bank on loans that you took in order to buy the stock. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands, please. Come on, wave your hands. Cordelia, good, excellent. Let's go on. So what are the factors affecting calculating profitability? First factor is the way you price your products, pricing strategy. Second factor is cost management, how you manage the costs of running your business. Third factor is the volume of sales that you make. How many sales you make as to how much money comes into the business. The fourth factor is your product mix. How many different products do you have, and do you have enough products to satisfy your customers? The fifth factor, your competition. Is your competition selling a better product or competing with you by selling the same product for a lower price? The sixth element is market conditions. Can the people in your economy, for example, in Vietnam or in Russia or in Kyrgyzstan or in Turkey, can they afford your product based on the salary they earn? And seven, the efficiency and productivity of your company in lowering its costs in order to maintain profit. Does everybody understand this? Wave your hands, please. Come on. Janice, very good. Let's look at them. Now, all these costs are broken up into different elements. Some of them are internal, some of them are external, some of them are interconnected, and some of them are pure financial costs. Let me explain each of these separately. Number one, internal costs. Internal costs. These are costs created by the business. Number one, pricing strategy. If you do not price your product correctly, then it means that you are losing money. If you give discounts and have promotions and eat away your profit, that will affect your profitability. And you need to make sure that you use what we call value-based pricing. If you undervalue your product or undervalue your service, this will affect profitability. Number two, cost management. You have to manage the cost of the goods you sell. For example, if you're buying handphones from Samsung, the unit might cost you $100 because you buy a small quantity. But if you manage your costs by buying from a Samsung distributor. He may allow you to buy smaller quantities and you only pay $98 for that Samsung. So therefore, your cost of goods sold will be lower. You need to make sure that your operating expenses are minimal. You need to make sure that you don't spend too much on salary and wages, depending on how many staff you need to service your customers. You also need to make sure that your overhead costs, your delivery costs, your electricity costs, your rental costs are kept to a minimum in order for your business to survive. The other internal factor is your operational efficiency. You need to make sure that your staff are fully utilized, that you don't have too many people doing the same duplicate job. You need to make sure that you have the best supplier who can sell you your product at the lowest cost. And you need to make sure that you don't carry an excess of stock unless you need it. For example, if you sell 20 phones a week, you should only have 30 phones in your warehouse. You do not buy 300 phones and only sell 20 a week. Therefore, your cash flow would be affected, and that could affect your profitability because you don't have enough cash to pay your bills and lead you to bankruptcy. Next one is what we call product service mix. This means that please do not draw on my screen. Remove your drawing, otherwise I'll remove you from the class. Product service mix, ladies and gentlemen, is what products you offer. Do they meet what your customers are looking for? Do you have the right products to sell? Are your products made in China, or are they the real products from Samsung Korea or iPhone, Apple? Are they real or are they fake? Are you offering a quality product that meets your competitor's product, or are you offering a cheap replica? And last of it, what is the life cycle stage that you have in selling the product to your customer? From the time the customer says, I want your phone, how long does it take you to sell it to him? And what is the life cycle of your phone? How long will this phone last with the customer? You sell it today. If the warranty is only 12 months, that means the customer, as soon as his phone gets old after 12 months, he's going to buy a new phone. All of this is important when you look at profitability. Marketing and sales costs. You need to make sure that you control how much you spend on marketing and promotion. You need to make sure that you have as many sales channels as possible open. Don't only sell in your store, sell online, sell your products on Amazon, sell your products on Shopee. You need to have as many sales channels as possible. And you need to make sure that you have good relationships with your customers. And that means that not only you sell to the customer, but you also follow up with the customer and ask them if they're happy with your product or service. Can everybody remove the question marks on my screen? Otherwise, I'll remove you from my class. Remove your marks off my screen. My co-host, could you find out who's writing on my screen and either remove them or warn them, please? You hear that, Eta? Thank you. All right. Can somebody remove these question marks immediately? All right. So remember, internal factors we've covered. Let's talk about external factors. External factors, ladies and gentlemen, are the factors that affect your profitability because of what somebody outside has done. Nothing to do with your internal operation. Mr. Eta, get rid of the question marks now, please. All right. Get rid of the question marks. All right. So external factors talk about market conditions. For example, demand and supply. Mr. Aita, find out who's doing it, and if need be, remove them from my session now. Warn them, and if they keep doing it, remove them. Thank you. All right, so market conditions involve the people outside, the people that have an effect on your business. Your supplier cannot deliver stock because his factory is closed. Demand and supply. Market trends and growth. Your market or your economy doesn't actually pay people a high enough salary due to inflation that people can afford your product. Number 3, seasonality. People can only afford to buy your product when they get their bonus in March of every year. Because, for example, in Indonesia, an average office worker earns between 120 to 250 US dollars a month. So if they want to buy a new iPhone, they cannot afford to pay 1,000 US dollars for an iPhone. So that would be due to economic conditions, due to market trends and market growth. They can't afford it. External factor. The next element of external factor is competition. You need to understand what your competitors are doing. For example, if Janice has a restaurant and her menu sells the same food that the 2 restaurants down the road sell, she has competition. So if Janice wanted to lower the risk of competition, she would add new items to her menu that her competition don't offer. And that way, she would attract more customers. You understand that, Janice? Very good. Okay, and the other thing that you need to worry about is your market share. How many customers do you have in your market? For example, Cordelia lives in Manila. Manila has 6 or 7 million people that eat lunch every day. But in the area where Cordelia has her restaurant, there's only about 50,000 people that live in that suburb. So she needs to estimate how big or how many of those 50,000 people are coming to her restaurant. And if she's only attracting 1% or 2% or 5%, she will never make a profit. So she needs to be able to attract at least 10, 20, 30% of all the people in that area who would go out and eat at a restaurant. Now, how does she do that? There's only one way for her to do that, by making sure that she offers products or services better than her competition and different to her competition. Do you understand that, Cordelia? Yes or no? Very good. Okay, let's go on. All right, do you understand that, Edmund? Edmund Kwasi? Do you understand what I just explained? Can you wave your hand, Edmund? Do you understand it? Yes? Very good. Yes or no? Yes, okay? Good, excellent. Pan Few, do you understand, Pan? Can you wave your hand if you understand? Very good, thank you. All right, so let's go to the next external factor. The next external factor reflects on the previous one, where we said here, in competition, and we also said market conditions. So the next one talks about economic conditions. Is there a recession? Is there inflation? Are people's salaries no longer enough for them to be able to afford the lifestyle or the standards they're used to living? Now, if people can't afford to buy your product because their salaries are low and the prices are high, that means that there's either inflation, your economy is falling behind, and you're experiencing what we call a recession in your country, because people are not earning enough revenue on a weekly or monthly basis to be able to afford goods or services that they need. Okay, then we have what we call the regulatory environment. Your profits could be controlled by the laws of your country. For example, Edmund, tomorrow your government could put out a law to say that you're not allowed to buy electronic cigarettes in that country. Singapore has already done it. The other countries have done it. Electronic cigarettes are banned in Singapore. It is a crime to have an electronic smoking device. Possession of one, using one, or buying one and importing it into the country can lead you to go to jail in Singapore. So imagine if in your country, the government banned selling of your products or services. That would be an external regulatory government factor that would affect your business. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Do you understand that, Marlene? Thank you. Okay, good. Excellent. Let's go to the next one. Technological advancements, Marlene. The other factor that affects profitability is the technology. You may be selling a Samsung Galaxy or S21, but the S21 is now an old model because there's an S22, 23, and 24. So that may be one of the reasons why you're losing customers. You need to make sure that your business constantly brings in new models, new technology, and is always innovative. So if tomorrow your competitor sells the latest Samsung S24, you need to sell it as well, because otherwise you're not able to offer your customer the same type of technology. And the danger of that is that your customer will not come back. Do you understand that, Marlene? Leo? Thank you. Do you understand that, Mickey Ali? Mickey Ali, do you understand that? Mickey Ali, Rusty? Can you wave your hand? Mickey Ali, thank you. All right. Okay, let's go on. Now that we've covered the external factors, the other factors we have to look at are what we call the financial factors. Financial, money. Money, money, money. Everybody here loves money, right? Wave your hands if you love money. Come on, everyone, wave your hands if you love money. Dika, do you love money, Dika? Very good, Dika. All right, so financial factors mean revenue growth. Are you generating revenue? Are you getting an increase in sales, or are you losing your customers? Again, please stop the person putting question marks on my screen, Aita. All right. Okay, so revenue growth means, are you generating any sales? Is money coming into the business? Are you making enough sales that you're able to adjust your prices? So instead of making $5 profit, can you lower your price to only make $3 profit based on the fact that your volume has gone up? If you have 1,000 people buying from you every month at $5 profit, can you afford to bring that price down so that you only make $2 profit? Because when you do that, instead of selling to 1,000 units a month, you may increase that to 1,500 sales a month. So you need to look at your sales volume and ask yourself, should I reduce my profit margin in order to increase sales, or should I remain where I am? And you need to focus on, do I have enough products to sell, or should I expand my products? Should I look at getting in new products? And number two, should I look at expanding my market? Right now, I only sell in my capital city, Manila. I only sell in Manila. I only have one shop. Should I take my business online so anyone in Manila, anybody, anywhere in Manila, okay, can order from me? Or should I put my business online on Shopee or Amazon so my customers become international customers around the world? Market expansion. All right, let's go on. Just one moment, please. Hold on, guys. Could you do me a favor, Aita? Somebody has put a marker on my screen and I can't change anything. Could you get rid of this, please? Okay, I've done it. Okay, so the next one is cost of capital. Cost of capital. What do we mean by that? Remember, the first one was revenue growth. The cost of capital means if you borrowed money from the bank to build your shop or pay for stock, you have to pay interest. you need to keep your interest expense to a minimum. You need to make sure your debt to equity ratio is manageable. So that means if you borrow $100,000 and you have to pay the bank back $5,000 every month, but your sales are only $6,000, then your debt is too high because you only make $5,000 sales. How can you afford to give the bank $6,000 a month? Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands. Thank you. And remember, whenever you borrow money to run the business, there's a cost. So you have to make sure that if you borrow money from the bank, you have to make sure that at the end of the month, you have enough profit to pay the bank and still make a profit. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. Last but not least, or number three, not last, are taxes. You have to remember that the taxation from your government will also affect how much you keep in profit. If you sell $1 million, you need to understand how much tax will the government take off you in your country. Does the government tax you 20% of profit? What does it tax you? You have to understand that before you decide on your profit margin. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? You have to understand whether your government offers you any tax discounts or incentives. For some countries, if you're selling technology, especially if it's the latest technology, you can claim a tax reduction from your government. If you're selling environmentally green products, you can get a tax reduction from your government. So as a business person, you must understand what taxes may you have to pay, what are the tax rates, what are any incentives your business can use to reduce their tax liability, and you need to make sure you understand the taxation that you're going to have to pay at the end of your business financial year. Otherwise, you may end up in bankruptcy. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands. Very good. All right, let's go on. Inflation. What is inflation? Inflation means due to a bad economy, due to poor cost of living, people are not earning enough to pay for goods, which causes inflation. And as a result of inflation, prices will go up, okay? The cost of goods you buy from the supplier will go up, and the value in profit, you may have been earning $5 profit, but because of an increase in inflation to 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, depending on your economy, that profit that you were earning $5 will no longer be $5. It'll be reduced by the increase in inflation. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. Now let's talk about, out of the internal factors and the external factors, which ones are interconnected? Which ones are connected to one another? The first one, customer needs and preferences are connected. So, as a business, you need to understand, what do your customers want? What do your customers need to buy? What do your customers expect from the product or service that you're selling them? How much do they expect to pay? How much money can they afford to pay? Last but not least, you need to understand whether your customers are loyal or not. Anybody tell me, what does loyalty mean? Who can tell me? What is customer loyalty? Who can tell me? What is customer loyalty? Put up your hand. What is customer loyalty? Come on. Anyone know? Very good. Okay, Gigi, what is customer loyalty? Gigi, go ahead.
Wait, I'm going to answer which. It's
Yeah,
a
go on.
repeated customer. Repeated customer.
Good. Exactly right. Customer loyalty is the life of the customer's value, the value or the life value of a customer. So it talks about how loyal is the customer. Are customers only one-time customers, or are they repeated customers? Of course, For you to have customer value, it means your customers should be repeat customers. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Let me tell you something about academics of profit. It is cheaper for you to keep a regular customer, a loyal customer, rather than find a new customer. Does everybody understand that? Cost of customer acquisition. For example, if you want to advertise to new customers to get them to buy from you for the first time, you have to spend a lot more money on advertising for them to come to your shop. However, if you simply communicate with your existing customers and keep them informed about new products or new sales, the cost of advertising to your existing customer is lower. Therefore, we say that the customer acquisition cost of new customers will reduce your profit because it's more expensive than the cost of retaining existing customers. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. Let me give you an example. If you look at a Rolex watch, hypothetically, a Rolex watch, this watch sells in a Rolex boutique for $18,000, hypothetically. Now, when Rolex advertises that watch, they may have to spend $400 or $500 advertising that watch, inviting customers to come to their boutique for a special cocktail session or a private sale session. Because people who buy an $18,000 watch are usually people with a higher income. So can you imagine for Rolex to get one of them, for example, Christine, to say, yes, I'm interested, I'll come to the next open session at your store, I'll try on the watch, I will get to learn more about the watch, and maybe I will buy it. The simple costs of getting Christine to agree to come to that sale or to that invitation-only event, maybe $100, $200, $300, because Christine is a new customer. That is her acquisition cost, all right? However, if Christine had already bought Rolex from you before, the acquisition cost is no longer there because Christine already knows your product. She knows your service. She's prepared to pay. So simply by telling her about new products on a monthly basis, Christine will come back and buy from you because it's a retention cost. It's no longer a new acquisition cost. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands, please. Very good. Excellent. Let's go on. Okay, hold on, guys. Hold on. Just hold on. Somebody's playing with my screen again. Hold on. Okay, so remember, interconnected costs are all about changing demands, expectations of the customer, and loyalty. Remember, I taught you this in previous sessions. Before you open a business or before you try to sell a product to the customer, you must understand the 5 rules of centricity. Everybody write it down. The 5 rules of being centric, C-E-N-T-R-I-C. Those 5 rules are: number 1, you must understand your customer's mindset. You must be customer-centric. Number 2, you must understand what product your customer is interested in. You must be product-centric. Number 3, you must understand how much money your customer or your potential customer, your market earn, and who can afford your product. You must be price-centric. Number 4, if you're a very fussy customer like Marlene and you don't have time to shop in the store, you might expect to be able to buy the goods online. So you want online sales service. You need to have an online store where customers like Marlene expect to be able to play with her iPhone while she's in bed, use her credit card, and have the product delivered without going to your store. So you need to be the level of service centric. And last but not least, Dika, you need to be market centric. Dika, do you understand what I mean by that, Dika? Remember, we said in some markets, you cannot sell electronic cigarettes or vaporizers. They're illegal. So you have to make sure that you know whether the product you're selling is legal in that market. Otherwise, you will be wasting your money advertising in that market. Does everybody understand what I mean by that? Wave your hands. Centric means to put yourself in the customer's shoes and understand what they want and why they want it. This is part of your market research before you open a business or before you sell a product. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Let me repeat them again. Number one, customer centric. Put yourself in the customer's shoes. Ask yourself, what is he thinking? Number two, what product does he or she want? What are they looking for? Number three, how much can they afford to spend? Number four, what level of service do they expect? Do they want to come to my store, or do they want comfort of buying it online because they're busy people? And number five, is my product legal in that market? Can I sell it? Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? You need to answer all those five elements with yes before you can expect to have a customer relationship. Does everybody understand that? Because you can only understand your customer needs. You can only understand what your customer is interested in buying by understanding the five elements of being customer centric. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands, please. Very good. Supplier relationships. You need to make sure that your relationship with your supplier is strong. You need to make sure that you pay your supplier on time. Otherwise, he will no longer give you credit, or he refuses to supply your products, which means that you have to look for another supplier. And by looking for another supplier, you might end up losing money because the other supplier may be more expensive. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Do you understand that, Jacqueline Lumbo? Okay. Do you understand this, Leonara Corpez? Thank you. All right. So, supplier relationships are critical. Next one is employee. Where are we? Okay. Next one is employee engagement and productivity. If the people that you have in your business sit around playing with their phone book, sending messages to their boyfriend, or hiding in the toilet other than serving customers, you lose customers because customers get sick of waiting and go elsewhere. So you have to make sure that your staff understands your customer. You have to make sure that you monitor your staff and control how productive they are. You must make sure that your customers are there and your staff can service them as and when the customer wants. Not when your staff finish playing with their phone in the toilet because they were busy sending messages to their boyfriends. If you cannot control the productivity of your staff, this will internally affect your business, and eventually your customer will go to your competitors. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Okay. Part of this is also you making sure that you have the right staff. For example, Look Big Van is your best saleswoman, but her salary is the same as Jacqueline. Jacqueline is a new saleswoman. She's only been with you for 1 month. Now, if you do not pay Look Big Van a higher salary because she's more qualified, she will leave you and go and work for your competitor. So as an employer, you must make sure that you retain your staff, you maintain the right morale, and make them feel comfortable and secure at work. They must feel like you care about them. Otherwise, this will become a loss for your business. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? These factors interact and influence one another, impacting the customer's profitability to your business. For example, if you lose customers because your products are too expensive, you will not generate revenue. If you lose customers because your staff is not productive, it will affect your profitability. If you advertise in Saudi Arabia to sell pork sausages, and Saudi Arabia does not allow the import of pork because pork is prohibited except to a very small number of foreigners, and you must be an approved supplier by the government, and they only allow 1 or 2, then you'll be wasting your money because people in Saudi Arabia will never buy pork products. So all of these elements are interconnected and will affect your profitability. All right, so how do you improve your business profitability? Number one, increase profit, increase revenue, sell more goods, generate more cash. Number two, reduce your costs. Number three, make sure that your business and the staff you have are very highly trained and your business is more efficient. Number four, make sure you reward your staff correctly. Look, Big Van is your top saleswoman. Don't pay her the same salary as Leona, who's a new sales girl. Pay her more because her experience will sell to more customers. Invest in research and development. Make sure that you're constantly looking for new products and new services to bring your customers. Expand into new markets. Don't settle for only selling your product in Manila. Explore selling it to people all over the Philippines. Explore selling it online to a global market. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you diversify your product on a regular basis. What do I mean diversify, Leonara? It means making sure that you have up-to-date products, new products on a regular basis. Do you understand that, Leonara? Wave your hand. Very good. Look at McDonald's. McDonald's brings out a new promotional burger or new menu for its customers at least once a month. Every month they have one new item which is new. The reason they do that is to make sure that customers keep coming back and spending money. And that's part of diversifying and being innovative. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. All right, so what does profitability mean for you? What does it mean? Profitability means an increase in the revenue you generate, an increase in the amount of money that comes into your business. Number two, if you generate more revenue and lower your costs, it means that you will have a higher level of profit and more financial stability for your business. If you pay your suppliers on time, for example, look, Big Van buys $1,000 worth of stock from the factory, but she pays that factory 50 days late. That factory will give her a bad credit rating. So the next time she goes to order, they will ask for payment up front. So you must make sure that your business can afford to pay for its bills to maintain creditworthiness. Otherwise, you will run out of money. You will not be generating enough profit. You will go bankrupt. Ability to invest in growth opportunities. As a business, you should constantly be looking at investing in expanded services, expanding markets, or improving your store's appearance, bringing in new ideas for your customers. And remember, regularly, you should be doing SWOT analysis. You should be examining all the competitors in your area, and you should be asking yourself, can I compete with them? They're selling it for $100. I'm selling it for $101. Should I sell mine for $99? Can I afford to compete with them? And if you can afford, you need to do that, because if you don't, your competitor will take your customers. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? What are the challenges to your business? What are the challenges? What I want you to do now is I want to give you 2 minutes before I show you the challenges. Okay, I'm going to put my screen up. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, 2 minutes only, all right? In this 2 minutes, I want everybody to write down 2 things which they think in your country would prevent you from making money. 2 things, all right? 2 things. Number 2, I want you to write down 2 products that you think you would buy regularly if your shop or the shop that you buy from provided you more innovation or better price. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? You understand? You have 2 minutes. Write them down now. 2 minutes. Okay. Who wants to go first and give me their answers? Who wants to go first? All right, let's talk to Edmund. Hi, Edmund. What did you write down? Go ahead, Edmund. Go ahead.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Go ahead.
Good. Unfortunately, you disable my chat, but I can say it verbally. It's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, what I'm trying to say, I think the first one, it should be a bread of loaf.
Yes. Number 2.
Bread. And then
Right.
number 2 is which is rice.
Right. Okay. Number 3.
And then the reason why and number 3, I can talk about the milli maize, cereal meals.
All right. Okay. Tell me why. Why number 3? Explain to me. Are you there, Edmund? Hello, Edmund.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
South Africa. Yeah, South Africa is one of the country that they dominated in agriculture. So
Yes, sir,
in order for me to get easy or accessibility to raw materials or proximity to the farm, I am not going to spend a lot of money on transport to convey the good from the farm to my site. So I think in terms of proximity, there's a lot of farmers around where I'm staying. So I'm thinking going into mainly farm business to be one of the recruit.
All right, well, that's a good idea, Edmund. That would come back to reducing your cost of goods sold. But then you have to think if you have enough capital to open your own mini farm. But that's a very good idea. Excellent thinking, Edmund. Very good.
In terms of
I'm sorry, Edmund, your microphone is failing on me. I'll come back to you. All right, let's go back to somebody else. Let's talk to Okay, Gigi. Gigi, what did you write? Gigi, go ahead, Gigi.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't write the writing, the chat thing is
That's
not
okay.
open.
Just tell me. Tell me what.
Yeah,
What have you got?
so I would say back home in my country, Philippines, economic instability and risk of a natural disaster, because it's always, we have a typhoon, we have flood always. So for the small business owners, if you're going to have a small business back home, you know, if, for example, you start up a small capital and you have this disaster came up and you don't have enough fund to put fund again, then of course it will be hard for you to get a loan, because then you have a small business and you won't have a collateral to the bank. So I think that's one of the most I think problem.
Very good. And it all comes back to Gigi being able to control your profitability, because when you borrow from a bank, you have to show them that you're able to earn enough profit to pay back the loan. Is that correct, Gigi? Do you agree with that? Very good. Thank you, Gigi. Okay, let's go on. Who else would like to share their ideas? Yeah, Janice, go ahead, Janice. What did you come up with, Janice? Hi, Janice, go ahead. Would you like to talk to me, Janice? No, talk to me, Janice. I can't read it. You need to talk to me. Can you unmute your microphone and talk to me? I can't see it, ma'am. I can't read it. You need to talk to me. Unmute your microphone, Janice. Can you unmute your microphone? Why? What's wrong with your microphone? Okay, Aita, could you open the chat box so Janice can write in the chat box, please? Allow them to write in the chat box, Aita. Can you hear me, Aita? Okay, Janice, you can type your answers in the chat box now. Please type your answers in the chat box. Okay, I'll come back to you, Janice. Okay, let's go on. Let's talk to Nui-san. Hi, Nui. Where are you from? Go ahead.
I'm from Myanmar.
Okay, tell me, what did you have?
Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, so in the Myanmar is always the internet conflict, so that's why we political issues. So that's why we always is the increasing price is the all the item is the transportation rate is very difficult, and also the country in the internet conflict. So that's why is the for the business is the very difficult for the US challenges like this. So and also we are in Myanmar is that we face the cyclone affected, and also there's a famine is the facing is the everything is that's why is the especially is the index is the most challenges for the
You're right. Okay, very good. That's a good explanation. Well done, young lady. I'm very proud of you. Good girl. So do you think you've learned anything today about profitability, Nui?
Yeah.
Good, excellent. Thank you. All right, so let's go on. Let's see who else. Somebody else raised their hand. Let's talk to Lizelle. Hi, Lizelle. You raised your hand. Go ahead, Lizelle. Can you unmute your microphone?
Hello, sir.
Hi, go ahead.
For me, sir, I'm here in Eastern working as a private caregiver. I start in the Philippines in the province small business store and small video. Okay, that's
yes.
I can afford that I build this slowly. So now, sir, I start the business that what people need in our province, like rice, the everything inside the house they need, like the rice, milk of the babies.
All right. So how is the business doing? How big is your customer base?
For now, sir, it's not yet incomplete because I started slowly.
Okay.
The business now is okay, sir.
Very good. Lizelle, I hope these sessions are helping you. I hope you're learning about how to run your business. Are these BizTalks helping you, Lizelle?
Yes, sir. I get some for the business, good opinion for you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the sharing your knowledge to us to
You're
make
welcome.
a business.
It's my pleasure. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what you guys have shared is good. Just hold on, I got a chat message. All right, okay, just hold on, please. I've got messages coming in. All right, okay, Janice, I understand you're at work. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much for keeping me up. Okay, all right, so Janice, can you write down what your answers were? All right, let me go on. Competition, Arlene, very good. Okay, great. So let me just give you an example. Does everybody here know Coca-Cola? Put your hand up if you know Coca-Cola. Who knows Coca-Cola? All right, can anybody tell me what happened to Coca-Cola in 1985? Can anyone tell me? What did Coca-Cola do wrong in 1985? Does anyone know? Yeah, go ahead, Dika. Open your microphone, Dika. What did Coca-Cola do? Go ahead,
I think
Dika.
last time they do something like, hello, sir. Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. What did they do?
I think last time they do something like the lottery number. I mean the number on the bottle cap. That's you can win some money on it. But actually a lot of numbers come out. Is it? And
Okay.
then they like a mask on it.
No,
It's like
that is,
make a.
they did do that some time ago, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'll explain to you
Okay,
shortly.
sorry.
Okay, right?
Okay.
So what I'm asking, in 1985, Coca-Cola decided to play with this recipe. What they did is they decided to make Coca-Cola more thirst quenching. So as you know, Coca-Cola is made out of sugar and caffeine. When you put sugar and caffeine together and people drink it, it causes a lot more hype. It causes you this temperamental energy. You feel excited because of the caffeine and the sugar interacting. So in 1985, Coca-Cola thought, well, hold on, what if we increase the sugar level and give people a stronger taste? So when they buy a Coke, they get a lot more energy. They did that. But that was a mistake for them. Because what happened, eventually governments all over the world started asking Coca-Cola how much sugar are they putting into their Coke. Now, of course, Coca-Cola said, hold on, we have Diet Coke, we have less sugar. But the less sugar still contained a high volume of sugar and caffeine. Okay? So they made a controversial decision. And what they did in 1985, they named themselves the New Coke, because they played with the recipe. Now, that didn't work for them, unfortunately, because within 5 to 10 years later, by the mid-90s, governments threatened Coca-Cola with a sugar tax. Governments told Coca-Cola in Australia, England, Europe, and Singapore, and Japan, you either reduce the sugar content in your product, or we'll put a sugar tax on all Coca-Cola product coming into our country. Now, what would happen if they did that? Instead of you buying a can of Coke for $2 and they put 40% tax on that, that means you'll be paying $3.20 for that can. Right? So by formulating the sweeter version of Coke, New Coke in 1985, what they did is they created a problem for themselves with the government and regulators 5 or 10 years down the line. Coca-Cola didn't expect it to happen. They thought that the government wouldn't mind about the extra sugar. But when governments started getting a lot more young kids drinking Coca-Cola and the sugar content went up, the governments reacted, the world reacted. Australia, Japan, England, the United Kingdom, Germany, countries all over the world, okay, decided that sugar tax would be thrown in. They gave Coca-Cola about 6 months to adjust its recipe. And they did. Coca-Cola took its regular Coca-Cola. They lowered the sugar again to below what it was before they brought out the New Coke. They took away the name New Coke. They brought it back to Coca-Cola. Then they introduced a no sugar product. They introduced a diet product. They introduced a less sugar product. So now they have 4 or 5 products on the market. They did that to avoid the sugar tax. Now, what happened when they did that? Unfortunately, it was too late, because the number of consumers who were used to buying the normal Coke now got used to buying the high sugar Coke, and now all the Coke they had did not taste the same. So unfortunately, Coca-Cola lost market. But the good thing about this is the governments then brought the same law down on Pepsi and on all the soft drink manufacturers. So eventually, Pepsi had to also reduce their sugar. So what happened when the consumer found out that Pepsi is not sweeter and it has the same similar sugar hypertensity of Coca-Cola, people started buying Coca-Cola again. But as a result of reduced sugar in their products, both Coca-Cola and Pepsi saw a lot of their customers run away. I used to be a Coca-holic. I used to drink 1.5 liters of Coca-Cola every morning when I woke up at 6:30, because the energy and the caffeine in Coca-Cola gave me enough energy to go to the office all day. But by early 90s, I stopped buying Coca-Cola because it no longer tasted the same. So now I drink espresso, 7 or 8 shots of espresso every morning when I wake up. So what Coca-Cola did is they made a decision to increase the sugar in 1985 and come up with this new innovative idea of new Coke. But unfortunately, due to government regulations, it backfired on them. And Coca-Cola is still paying the price. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Put up your hands, everyone. Do you understand what I explained, Edmund? Edmund, thank you. Now, it's not only Coca-Cola, it's not only Pepsi. People like Dr. Pepper in the US, people like F&N who make ice lemon tea and other drinks in Asia, soft drink manufacturers in China also had to adjust, because now governments all over the world were going to hit with sugar taxes. So they had to change the mix of their drinks. Does everybody understand that? This is an example of how government legislation can affect your business or your industry, just like it affected Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and F&N. Let's take another example. How many of you here go to McDonald's? Put your hands up if you go to McDonald's. Come on, hands up. All right. Many years ago, when you went to McDonald's, they used to sell regular Coke. Now, if you go to McDonald's, all their Coke is less sugar or no sugar. So the number of people that ask for Coca-Cola at McDonald's has dropped. So most customers who go to McDonald's now ask for Ribena, water, coffee, ice blended coffee, or a drink which they like. But very few drink Coke or Fanta anymore because the sugar taste has dropped. Another impact on McDonald's and Jollibee, if you live in the Philippines, is environmental impact. So back 5 years ago or 6 years ago, when you went to Jollibee, they gave you a straw made out of plastic, right? Unfortunately, governments all over the world told Jollibee, McDonald's, and fast food chains, if you do not save the environment, if you do not stop using plastic bags, if you do not pull out straws, and if you don't start using an environmentally friendly substance, we will impose a tax on you. And it's called an environmental tax. So what did McDonald's, Burger King, and Jollibee do? They changed their straws to cardboard straws. They changed their bags to paper bags. All right. Now, in some markets, they still use plastic, but you'll find that in those markets, they're having government dilemma, and eventually the government's going to come down on them hard. All right. Now, in Singapore, if you go into a McDonald's store, the majority of time, they will use a paper bag. The only time they'll use a plastic bag is if they're packing drinks and they will spill, and the government has allowed that. But environmentally friendly control or going green controls by government, by legislature, does impact a business. Regulations and laws around the world about sugar taxes impacted Coca-Cola. Let's talk about the travel industry. Who can tell me what happened to the travel industry during COVID-19? Can anyone tell me what happened to the travel industry? Yeah, go ahead, Edmund. Good on you, Edmund. What happened? Tell me.
Okay. Most of the aviation department or the travel agency, they went on bankruptcy because of the pandemic. One, many people decided to requested or refund for their money because people bought a ticket for maybe a year or 5 years. And when the COVID came, most of the country were not able to travel. They put a sanction or they put a travel sanctions on them. So, and for that matter, they could not make money, or their expectation were not like for them to experience COVID. So all the money that were paid for, let's say, a year before, they could not project, they couldn't see that COVID would be in place. So, and for that matter, the people who paid money in advance, they lost all those customers, and some people, they restarted for refund or reimbursement, where they also use the money for other investment. So some of them could not even stand up on their feet. And then as we speak now, most of the aviation company has already collapsed.
You're right. You're exactly right. Let me add to that. What happened when COVID came? The availability of aviation fuel fell because ships could not travel across the world to deliver fuel to different countries from the refineries, and the cost of that fuel per barrel went up. Instead of paying $100 a barrel, it now became $200 a barrel because the supply was limited. There was no ships to carry the fuel to the right destination. So as a result of that, airlines had to put a fuel tax or a fuel surcharge on all their tickets, which they did. So what happened is by the time people were able to travel, they booked a ticket for $200, but the airline said, well, hold on, now you also have to pay the fuel tax or lose your ticket. So the fuel tax on airlines actually crippled their business. They could no longer get customers who were not prepared to pay the fuel tax because customers could not afford it. It was too much for them. So what Edmund is saying is right. Now, during that time, some small airlines could no longer survive. They didn't have enough money to keep paying salaries and keep their aircraft grounded. They went out of business. They could no longer pay the mortgage or the loans on their aircraft. So the aircraft were repossessed, the airline folded. Very good. Same with bus companies, coach companies. They bought coaches on loans. They couldn't pay. There was no passengers. They weren't allowed to use them. They folded. Now, what happened when COVID-19 finished? When COVID-19 finished, airlines in Australia like Qantas had like $50 million of airfares they got before COVID, and they refused to give them back. They said to their customer, you've lost them. Guess what the Australian government did? The Australian government found Qantas guilty of taking advantage of the customer. Qantas had to refund all the fares exactly like the customer paid. Not a cent, no cancellation fee. Now, since the Australian government did that, so have governments all over the world. But the fact is, the airline industry will never be the same because the fuel tax they put on your airline ticket is still there. COVID is over, but you think they're going to remove it? No, because the airlines say this is revenue for us. Now that we're getting it, we're not going to minus it. You have to pay it. So the cost of travel went up, the number of people traveling went down, and more people opt for discount airlines where you get no food, you just sit on a seat, no entertainment. But those airlines are focused on cheap travel. So the whole nature of the airline industry has changed. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. So what I've done now is I've given you two examples. I've given you the soft drink industry. I've given you the fast food industry. and I've given you the airline industry. Does anybody know any other industry that had to change the way it does business due to COVID-19? Anyone else? Who can give me another example? Put your hand up. Yeah, let's go ahead. Cordelia, which other industry?
It's restaurants.
Okay, yeah, tell me, what happened to the restaurant business?
Because since COVID-19, right, a lot of people order from online foods and delivery for because all the restaurants are closed down due to COVID-19.
Right. So
Yeah.
what happened is the restaurants that did not have online delivery went bankrupt. The restaurants that couldn't build a website quickly enough went bankrupt. The
Yes.
restaurants that could not deliver quality food went out of business. Very good. Thank you very much. All right. So what businesses learned as a result of that is that the owners were not proactive. The owner of the business never thought, what would happen if people can't come to my restaurant? How can I make money? They forgot to have an online delivery service. Nearly 30% of restaurants around the world went out of business during COVID-19 because the business had not planned and didn't have the right online ordering strategy in place. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Can you wave your hands? Great. All right, so let me go back to my PowerPoint. Okay, so remember, guys, just one moment, please. Let me just go on, please. Just one moment. Okay, so remember, profitability means increased cash flow, improved financial stability for the business, enhanced creditworthiness, increased investor confidence, an ability to invest in growth opportunities, and more importantly, an ability to compete. So what are the challenges facing businesses today so far as improving their profit margin? What are they? They need to make sure they can deal with competition. They need to make sure that if COVID-19 strikes again, or the cost of fuel goes up, that they have other option like delivery, online business, or they have another way of serving their customer so they can still generate revenue. Businesses have to be prepared for government changes like the sugar tax with Coca-Cola, the environmentally green policy with McDonald's using plastic straws. Businesses must be aware of changing in market trends by being market-centric. And you also have to understand that during COVID-19, if you couldn't provide your customer a website or put you food onto Grab or Food Panda, you lost business and you went out of business. All of these are part of technology challenges, government regulation challenges, environmental challenges, economic downturns. Businesses must be ready for these challenges on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis. It means understanding your business on a regular basis. What to do? It's very easy. What to do? Number one, you have to regularly review your financial statements every week, every fortnight, every month. Look at your revenue. Analyze the market. Look at what your competitor is doing. Ask yourself, is your competitor selling the same product at a better price, or are you selling a better quality product? Ask yourself, is your competitor selling more products because he has selling to more markets, more customers, or are you and your competitor in the same markets? On a monthly basis, review your business plan. Look at new markets, look at reviewing your products and reviewing your pricing. Make sure that you invest in developing your staff. make sure that you take care of the staff who do well and reward them. Don't treat them like staff who are new, because eventually they will leave you and go and work for someone else. And if they leave you, your sales will drop. Always remember, innovation and continuous improvement are the key to improving profitability. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Does anybody have any questions about anything we've discussed about profitability today? Go ahead. Anybody want to ask a question? Put your hand up. Anyone? Okay, let's start with the first hand that went up. Yes, Edmund, go ahead.
Okay,
Hi, Edmund.
I want us to go back to customer centric.
Yes, go ahead.
I've got a question on customer centric. You did
Yes.
mention of we need to put customers into our shoes. It means that we
No,
need
no,
to
no.
understand.
No, you need to put yourself into their shoes. You need to put yourself into the customer's shoes. You need to ask yourself, if I were that customer, what would I want?
Okay, I really understand, but looking at the nature, inflation is, we did mention about inflation. Inflation is one of the factors that making us not to determine a constant price as far as business is concerned. So
Yes.
if I try to be lenient, or if I try to be kind, it means at the end I'm not longer running a business. So in order for us to be too kind, or in order for us to be flexible in terms of business, we need to look at the culture differences. We need to look at also the inflation rate in the country, because
I'm sorry, I disagree with you, Edmund. I disagree with you as an academic. Let me tell you why. If you are in business, and you want to make revenue, it's not about you being kind. It's about you as a businessman finding a way to satisfy your customer wants and needs.
Okay.
So if you as a business say, listen, I can't, I'm not prepared to look for a new supplier, I'll go out of business.
Okay.
That's your choice as a business. It's nothing to do with the customer. The customer wants a product or service. You have two choices as a business. One, you try to find an option that meets his financial capacity or his ability to buy. Or two, you look for a new market. You look for a new market. But you cannot say that because of inflation, I'm not a charity. That's not business. That's not how business works. Remember, you're in business to provide customers something they want and need. Now, you have two choices. You can either try to accommodate, or you can go out of business. Very simple. But what you're saying, what you said earlier, is wrong, because you're giving up. You're not being creative. You're not being innovative. You're not exploring different ways to meet customer demand. And if you do that, yes, your business is going to go bankrupt. But let me tell you, you need to be able to cater for customer demands. So you need to say to yourself, okay, if I sell rice and I'm selling grade A rice at $5 a kilo, but my current customer can no longer pay $5, should I bring in a cheaper rice and offer two different alternatives? One at $5, one at $4. You need to offer those alternatives. If you don't do that, you will put yourself out of business.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Does that answer your question? Do I help you or not?
Yes, perfectly. You've answered. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. All right. Does anybody else have a question? Anybody else have a question? Okay. Who else wants to go? Okay. Yes, Gigi. Do you have a question, Gigi? Go ahead, Gigi.
Just an opinion regarding my classmate Edmond about the quality of the service and to be kind. He was saying something like that. I guess there is a way around it. Like if you have a good supplier that could give you better prices. You know, it's about exploring and finding the right supplier, because then you will be able to produce economically prices for your customers. Then, you know, you don't have to compromise with your profit. So it's about finding the correct suppliers.
And that comes back to what we learned, supplier business relationship. If you have a working relationship with your supplier, Edmund, you should be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, Mr. Supplier, I know that in the past you've charged me $2.70 for a kilo of your grade A rice. But unfortunately, if I go out of business, I used to sell 20,000 kilos a year of your rice. You're going to be stuck with rice that will be out of date. I want to keep selling your rice. So seeing the economy is bad, how about we reduce our costs from $2.80 to $2.40 so I can make 40 cents, still sell your rice. And then once the market or the economy comes up, we'll increase the price again. But all of that comes back to supplier business relationship. Do you understand what I mean by that, Edmund? Can you wave your hand? And let me tell you, Gigi and Edmund, many suppliers will help you. They'll accommodate you. A lot of them will not say no, especially if you've been buying from them for years and you're a loyal buyer. They will not say no to you. They'll work with you, because if they don't work with you, you're not going to buy from them. So the $50,000 you spend with them every month, they'll lose. And then they'll go out of business. A supplier will always work with you as a business retailer or a distributor, providing you actually talk to them and give them evidence that you need to take this step in the market. You know, I'm buying from you for $2.80, I'm selling for $4. Customers are saying they can't afford it. They want it for $3.50. The difference between $4.80 and $3.50, you share it. So instead of me paying you $2.80, I'll give you $2.20, and you give me 60 cents off the cost so I can manage my customers' expectations. Do you understand what I'm saying, Edmund? Does that make sense to you, Gigi? Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else want to ask a question? Go ahead. Anybody else? Come on, talk to me, guys. Why is it always the same people? Everybody wake up, come on. Okay, who else wants to ask a question? Come on, put your hands up. Okay, Gemma Baramanda, are you there? Where are you, Gemma? You were here at the beginning, Gemma. Unmute your microphone, Gemma. Are you there, Gemma? Unmute your microphone, young lady. Let me see your smile. Hi, Gemma.
Good afternoon here in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, do you understand today's lesson, Gemma?
Yes, sir. Although I am late a little bit because we don't have here current, blackout here in Jeddah in our station. But
okay.
I do believe that I understand a little bit. And yes, sir, about the profit, yeah. And I joined through financial education now, and I have, we have about this what is this group about this can I mention it? International marketing group, though.
No, don't mention it, please. You'll get me into trouble. Don't mention it. Go ahead.
Okay, about this other group, yeah. Sorry for this, and then I am still learning, sir, to about profit, about how to do this profit, and about this how do I make this profit without problem. Sometimes, sir, I do a lot of risk decisions, so I bar down, Branca, something like that. So because I didn't understand, and now I am learning. I am learning, and thank you for your your sharing this about this education, sir.
Very good, Gemma. I'm happy that you're learning. And let me tell you, if you or your friends need to learn something and you don't understand it, please just message me. I'd be happy to help you and your friends. And I'm so proud that you are still trying to do a business and you've joined a group and you're trying to learn. So I hope you keep coming to BizTalk and you keep improving your business skills. Do you understand that?
sir. And it's
Good on
my
you, Gemma.
pleasure. And thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Does anybody else want to say hello to me? All right, guys, let me tell you that on Monday night, this coming Monday, we have Monday Motivation Madness with my mentor and my boss, the one that motivates me, Mr. Benson Ma. I encourage you, all of you are trying to run a business and make money. All of you need to become business smart. Motivation Madness is a free lesson. All you need to do is switch on your phone and listen to it. It's a very interesting talk from people who have made money and are going to teach you some of their tricks. Now, if you don't attend it, it means that you're lazy and you don't want to improve your life. The reason why we spend a lot of money giving you Motivation Madness free every Monday is because we want to see you happy. We want to see you learn and run businesses. Let me tell you about one of my students. I have a young lady from the Philippines. I'm not sure if she's here today. She did her postgraduate diploma in business management with us over 12 months ago. She finished in December last year. She came to Singapore to graduate and receive her diploma. When she was in Singapore, she told us a story about her company. When she first started this company, she only had a small business making about $200 a month. Now, after she graduated, she has 3 companies and she no longer has to work. These 3 companies produce revenue for her to support her family, her husband's family, and run businesses. And now she's expanding and opening stores all over the Philippines. Why? Because this girl attended every Monday Motivation Madness for 1 year. This girl attended every BizTalk without fail for 1 year. And she was here last week or the week before. She still attends BizTalk. The reason why I do this for you, the reason I put so much energy in teaching you this is because I want you to use it. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Wave your hands. Okay, listen carefully. If you have any questions after this session, or you want my help with anything, you can always WhatsApp me. My WhatsApp number, write it down. Mr. Aita, put my WhatsApp number in the chat box, +65 822 52220. If you have any questions, send me a WhatsApp, tell me your name, and say, sir, I attended this talk about improving profitability. My name is Jacqueline. Can you help me? All right. Now, if your question is very big, tell me you want my email address. I'll message you my email address. You can email me and I will try to help you. But remember, if you message me today, don't expect a reply today because I'm head of department and a teaching lecturer. So give me at least 3 days to answer you. Sometimes I reply straight away, but if I'm teaching, you may have to wait. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Again, my WhatsApp number is +65 822 52220. I'm going to go to the chat box. I'm also going to type my email for everyone. Just one moment, please. Okay, everybody in the group, I'm putting my email in the group. Please download it or copy it in case you need to reach me. Just one moment, please. Okay, my email is in the group now. It's in the chat box. Go to the chat box. My email is eh.wally1@gmail.com. Okay, as far as the link to today's material, providing you've attended this session from the beginning to the end, providing your camera has been switched on, unless you've apologized for not switching it on, you will receive the material together with your certificate during next week. But remember, in order for you to receive the material and certificate, you must have been in the session and had your camera switched on. Otherwise, you may not receive a certificate depending on whether you switched on your camera at all or not, okay? In order to guarantee a certificate and the material, your video camera must be on all the time, okay? Most of the times we help you, we send it to you anyway. but please don't take that for granted. Make sure your cameras are switched on in the future. You should all be getting your certificate and your lesson material by middle next week, provided you've been listening to the session and attended the session, preferably with your video camera on. All right, does anybody else have any questions for me? Anyone else? You're welcome, Genevieve. It's my pleasure. You're welcome, all of you. It's my pleasure. Once again, my name is Wally Rauda. It's been my pleasure being here with you for BizTalk today. And I thank my co-hosts and my boss, the man who makes this session technically possible. Can everybody give Mr. Aita a big hand? Everybody clap for Mr. Aita. Welcome to the BizTalk team, Mr. Aita. It's great to have you on board BizTalk. All right. Now, remember that if you go to our YouTube channel, which is the Apex Stories, in about 10 days, you will find the video for this BizTalk. You can download it and watch it. It should be in YouTube within 7 to 10 days maximum. All right? Please go to YouTube, the Apex Stories, probably next Friday or next Saturday, and the video will be there. Does everybody understand that? It could be there earlier, but allow us at least 3 to 5 days maximum. Okay? All right. Any questions? Mr. Aita, you want to wave goodbye to all your students, sir? Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you at the next BizTalk. From me to you, God bless you all. Stay safe. I love you all. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Mr. Aita.